Where does
Recording
yesterday's
in
future,
progress.
which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure, and thank you to my wonderful guest who's showing up. We're having an interesting topic today. It's part 2 of one of my favorites. Come on, everybody. AI is here. It's around us. It's almost inside of us. It's on things we do and places we go and I couldn't say things we eat, but things we listen to and things we drive and everything that's around us. So we're doing today part 2 of the future of our things. Big, broad topic, plus AI. And I've got a wonderful panel of 2 guests who've been on before. We've got Martin Pandola and Aaron Allsbrook are back. I can say that. And we have a newcomer, Stephén Huneycutt. Welcome to Stephén. And I'm going to do my opening, and I think Stephén is going to be happy. I certainly hope he is. So let me start. Today on Technology Revolution, the future of now, the future of our things and AI. What's next and how? Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic leads the conversation with Stephén Huneycutt. Everybody wave when I call your name. Aaron Allsbrook and Martin Pandola talking innovation. Will AI command our power, our laundry, our light, running our life systems through every day and every night? From smart control to seamless chore in store, our futurists reveal what's next and maybe a lot more. Stephén, you're up first. I hope you like this. Yeah. From Vienna's charm to Carolina's land, Stephén's curiosity shaped a future well planned. Picking tomatoes beneath the summer sun, he learned people and products are never just done. A degree in economics with business in mind, water ski leadership, a drive well defined. From touchscreen tech to museums' bright glow, Stephén crafted experiences that make ideas flow. Through NASCAR and Formula E's racing domain, he fused speed and strategy, passion and brain. Now in IoT and Clearblade's innovation embrace, Stephén drives enterprise into the connected space. What'd you think?
That was fantastic.
Have you ever been introduced like that before?
No, I have not, and I love it. I'm gonna have to get a copy of that.
I'm glad. Well, I'll send you the clip. I don't send the words because it's all in the delivery. You understand. And Aaron, I have a fresh one for you and a fresh one for mine as well. From Raleigh streets where bold dreams grew, Aaron built visions both brave and true. When a middle school friend lit the tech's creative light, Aaron envisioned robots and flying cars in sight. From football fields to Olympiad flair and bowling strikes that displayed his skill and care. At NC State, Aaron earned his degrees with pride. EE and CPE, knowledge was his guide. At IBM, Aaron tackled Y2K strain. I did too, but I was somewhere else. Now Clearblade rose through vision and brain. Now, Edge AI and digital twins he steers, connecting industries. Aaron is shaping the future years. Aaron, what'd you think?
Beautiful. What poetry.
Thank you. I love you too. And Martin is back from Austin's heart, where futurist dreams start. Martin discovered code was his special art. At UIUC, he earned degrees twofold in computer engineering, precise and bold. Clearblade welcomed his drive in 2017, an intern whose focus and talents were keen. From gateways to sensors and lights that respond, Martin built seamless systems, tech far beyond. Now director of engineering, Martin leads with skill, solving tough problems with sharp-edged will. Off the clock, he reads, writes games, and roams with his wife by the lake near their Chicago homes. Martin, I hope you like that.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll take beautiful. With our visionary panelists, the future is looking bright as AI set to transform our things with speed and light. From cars and pens to kitchen tools will accrue. Our savvy futurists predict what's likely and may already have come true. There we go. So what, do I get a thumbs up on the opening? What'd you think,
Let's
guys?
do it. I like it.
Okay, I'm glad. Now, Stephén is new, so I put you first as a not a guest of honor, but just a newcomer. There you go.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do is let's go around the table briefly. Now, in 8 lines, it's hard, or 12 lines, it's hard for me to encompass everything you've ever done, and that's important to you. So I'm going to put you on speaker view first, you, Stephén, and I'd like you to fill us in. Is there anything else you'd like the audience and me and your colleagues from Clearblade, I can say it right now, to know about you that's pertinent to why you're here and what you think about AI? So, Stephén, take about 2 or 3 minutes and tell us more, please, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie. So let's see here. So the background as you went through that beautiful introduction is you can see it's a little varied there. One of the common threads was technology. So I when I started out at a startup, we were doing the touchscreen tech, and that led into experiential marketing, but I was focused on the tech side of that. So being able to change spaces using technology that wasn't quite there and available, or that was new at the time, and providing new experiences through that. And then also the tech, went into the speed side of things when it came to racing. So for me, I always liked that was the common thread. And then getting into IoT has been one of my favorite things so far, and it's I would say what really kind of made me excited about being on today is that I just recently built a house, and we really focused on smart technology. So that was a key component, and that was something that was a big portion of what I focused on. So AI into the home. I've already incorporated some things, and and there's some decisions I've decided not to do, and it has made some for interesting experiences.
Okay, you dangled that little carrot in front of us. Decisions, come on. If it's not too personal for you and your family, what did you decide not to do?
One of the biggest things for me is that no internal cameras on the house. So I have
Oh.
I have all external cameras. So good
Mhm.
luck on sneaking up on us here in the house. But I have two teenage daughters, and for me and our family, privacy is just I've always been a big advocate of it, and I think that having a camera inside of the house is just not the right place for it. So.
Was that something that was suggested by the vendor, or suggested, was there an AI program that said, thou will have cameras inside your house and we will know everything about you? How did you had to say no to somebody or something? I hope I'm not prying.
No, no, no.
Okay.
So I did everything myself. So there
Okay.
was no vendors or anything along those lines. So I sourced everything myself.
Okay.
One of the reason it came up as a big decision for me is that one of the advantages of AI is that what we could do, and right now, and it's available right now, and it can actually be ran locally. So uh, that the AI side made me a little bit more comfortable, ironically, because it can be ran locally. But it was the camera portion of it that did throw me off. And with the functionality and the use case that I was deciding on is that if I did have cameras on the inside of the house, I could say something along the lines of, where are my sunglasses? And you could take a snapshot of every camera inside of the house and examine all the photos and identify where the sunglasses are, and then come back and tell me,
Oh,
hey, your sunglasses are on your desk beside or the table right beside the bed, or on the desk, or on the kitchen table, and let me know where they are. So that felt useful, and that could have been fun and interesting, but I decided to
too
pass on
much.
that just because of the privacy issue.
Too much. Big camera is watching you. So is little
Yeah.
camera. Okay. Yeah. Yikes. Okay. Well, I think it's a good decision. And you've already brought
Yeah.
home part of our predictions here in what will you decide as a human you want AI to do with you, for you, by you, around you, in your environment. Very interesting. Thank you and welcome. Lovely to have you here. Aaron, you're back. Let's talk. Anything new you want to tell us about since you were on a couple months ago? Go.
Yeah, I'm back. I thought about this kind of what did I say differently from last time? And I guess, a lot of what I've done in my career has really focused on kind of companies, big companies and enterprises. So in some ways, I don't even look at my home, and I look at my home as almost this different world. But what I do love about what we do and what we're doing is just the energy optimization. And that's weird to come back to, but all of these things that are going on in the world really come back to some sort of efficiency, some sort of value that's going to, really save energy. So meanwhile, we got this AI world, and we're having to use lots of more energy to create these new data centers. but we're trying to optimize processes downstream. And I really, really do love that. I'm passionate about that. When I go back to why Clearblade and why I invest in it, it is about how do we optimize these processes and save things and save energy along the way. So I'll throw that out there as kind of a new part about me beyond my role of a basketball dad and all the other things I do in real life, but a little more.
I like that in real life. Okay, we got two parts to Aaron today. Okay, we've got the Aaron, we've got the Allsbrook. Okay, sorry about that. Martin Pandola is back. Martin, happy to have you. Please tell us a little bit more what you've been up to.
Yeah, I haven't been up to too much interesting, but I think I'm a little bit younger than these guys. I came into this company at 2017, but I've spent my entire professional career with Clearblade. And so I think that it's been very interesting seeing how IoT has evolved over just these short years. But also just thinking about this professionally, this domain professionally for so many years. And moving from the technology side to more of a management directional side of things over the past year or two has been quite the interesting transition for me. Focusing not so much, well, still on the realistic, what is possible currently today and how to implement that, right? That's where I was brought up in the implementation side of things, but now shifting a lot more towards the future vision side of things. Where are we heading? How can we get there? The strategy, the outlook of what is possible. So I think that this show has been helpful for me to sit down and think about that in terms of AI, and bring that to the table and start thinking about the future vision of where we want to take our product as well.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I appreciate all three of you, all real lives. I don't have any real interesting technology here, but I watch a lot of detective shows, and it's always interesting that they know where the car went from cameras, from CCTV, and they know where the Easy Pass was registered on a toll when they're looking for a perp or a victim. And it's interesting. I haven't seen anything that's really very modernistic. I'm not watching those kinds of shows. I'm watching more standard, but it's interesting to see. And I'll just tell you a quick funny story. I was in the mood for something really, really funny. And I think it's a British show called My Family. And it stars Chris Marshall, who was one of the lead investigators in Return to Paradise, or one of those silly, on some beautiful, gorgeous island, and he's the inspector who comes and solves crimes on the island. But when he was a teenager, with two actors, Zoe Wanamaker is one, there's an episode, the father is a dentist and the mother is a tour agent, a travel agent, and the kids are all crazy. And there's one where they have armed the house with sensors. Somebody sold them a system, a burglar prevention system, and they put sensors inside. Okay, this is talking to you, Stephén. And the father has to figure how to go down and get a snack at midnight when the house has been alarmed. So he is sliding down the banister and diving onto the couch and then the easy chair and trying to slither on the floor underneath the sensors. And all of a sudden he just can't stand it. And he stands up and the whole alarm goes off. But it's very interesting. And of course, they disarm the whole thing. There you go. So what I'm going to do now is I think we'll go to the opening quotes. I've asked each of you for a quote from a fictional character in a movie or TV show or a song lyric. And then you're going to explain what it has to do with our topic. Stephén, you're first. And you've picked a classic, iconic quote by Pete Maverick Mitchell, played by who else? Tom Cruise. And it's also part of a quote. In the quote was Nick Goose Bradshaw, played by Anthony Edwards, who I remember from ER. Don't get me on how many years ago. The movie, of course, is Top Gun, 1986 action drama film. Cruise says the first part and Goose says the second. Not a lot of people know that. This was a two-part quote. Top Gun, directed by Tony Scott, stars Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, Anthony Edwards, Tom Skerritt. Great movie. It grossed, get this, you will wish you were an investor back in 1986. I put my hand up and now Zoom made me go on the lower left. There we go. It grossed $56 million on a $15 million budget. Wouldn't you wish you had been an angel investor on that? Mm-hmm. Oscar for Best Original Song for Take My Breath Away, performed by Berlin. Oh my goodness, so many. All right, here's the quote. I feel the need for speed. Okay, there we go. Stephén, I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you unpack this for us? What does it have to do with our topic? Go.
Well, speed is lowers the adoption rate. So what I mean by that is that anytime you have latency in any type of technology, the human interaction with it is all that's a barrier. So right now we're getting to us, especially with voice, and AI and the response, being able to the process, being able to understand, being able to talk naturally with it is going to increase the adoption of it. So it just, people still complain about Siri. I still hear my daughters complaining about Siri sometimes where it doesn't understand the very first time and it's not processing quick enough. So in this world, speed is a huge indicator on how quickly things will get adopted.
Is that scary? Is that good?
Both.
Both. Okay. Aaron, I'm going to go around the table. Aaron, is that scary or both?
I think it's inevitable, so you may as well not be scared of it. I think that's how you have to look at it. You've got to look at it as an opportunity. There'll probably be things to fix, but I'm not going to be scared.
Aaron? And that's Aaron. Martin, see, your name's disappeared on the screen. Martin, what do you think?
I think it's great. I think we should embrace it. I mean, I think that any change is going to rankle us a little bit. I mean, we were talking about the Mac OS changes right before this. I mean, it's the same way where it's going to change and it's going to upset us a little bit, but ultimately in the end, we're going to move forward and we're going to find the good things about it and we're going to keep going forward.
I think so too. And I think there's a generational component too to all of what we're talking about is comfort level change, knowledge being plugged in, literally and figuratively. What do we know about? What do we want in our homes? What do we want our families to have? What kind of technology do we want? How mobile do we want to be? How viewed upon do we want to be? How recorded do we want to be? How easy do we want things to be? What about people who are boomers like me? Stephén, I'm an early woman in tech. I was coding in COBOL on a Xerox Sigma 6CP5 mainframe. I won't say how many years ago, but you can imagine. Key punch, all that good stuff. So the question is really what we're talking about today is to whom does it apply? Who can climb on board this AI everything train? And who wants to? Who's scared and who's not? Who's going to say, Mom, you got to have that because we want to see when you fall out of bed? Or who's going to say, kids, I want you to get the latest this and that because I want to see the grandchildren when they come home from school. It can go both ways, can't it? Yes, it can. Okay, Bonnie's ended with her philosophy here. Let's go to Aaron. Aaron, you sent a really, really wild quote. I wasn't even sure whether I should accept it. It's crazy. It's got a bad word in it. I'll just say instead of anything else. And all right, it's from Verbal Kint, played by Kevin Spacey. No comment. Movie is The Usual Suspects, 1995 crime thriller film directed by Bryan Singer, blah, blah, blah. Stephen Baldwin, Gabrielle Byrne, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak, Chaz Palminteri, Pete Postlethwaite, and Kevin Spacey. There you go. It follows the interrogation of Roger Verbal, is his nickname, Kint, a small-time con man who's one of only two survivors of a massacre and fire on a ship docked at the port of Los Angeles. I'm just going to leave that alone. And here's the quote. Forgive me, anybody who's offended, but it's not my fault. It's Aaron's. The quote is, I know him well enough I can say that. I almost want to make you read the quote. Back when I was picking beans in Guatemala, we used to make fresh coffee right off the trees. I mean, that was good. This is shit. But hey, I'm in a police station. Oh my goodness, Aaron, how could you do this to me? But I'll read almost anything, except it has the other bombs in it. So you got to rescue me. What in the world does this have to? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
how in the world did I pick it? Yeah, I did asterisk out that word, so I didn't expect you to have to say it. But I did enjoy that movie. I saw it the other day on an airplane randomly. I forget why in the world it came on. But what an interesting movie where the whole thing's about a lie being told to you. And maybe everyone else got it right away, but that was one of those movies like the other ones where he was dead all along. He was lying all along for me as I watched it. But I liked it because it talked about how bad coffee is in a police station and how good coffee is when it's kind of natural. Although I don't think you pick a bean and make coffee. I think you have to roast it and everything else. So he was still lying even in that journey of it. But the idea is we really do want the authentic, and we really do want the thing that we can appreciate and take time to enjoy. And technology is constantly wiping that away such that we end up with police station coffee, and we've all drunk that. I was probably drinking that on an airplane at the time.
I haven't.
Okay. Well, I have to the police station. Fair enough. But ultimately, what I think and what I really want and I believe and hope for out of AI is it goes back to giving us authentic experiences versus all of the mass production that I think we're littered with right now. So much you talked about the home that was overly censored and you couldn't get up at night. That's a problem that I think AI solves and disappears. It knows it's me, right? All that stuff deactivates and activates because I do get up in the middle of the night and it knows about that. And so to me, when I think about this guy's talking about wanting the good stuff, the authentic stuff, the artisanal stuff, that's the value that I really hope AI gives us instead of piling on yet more artificial in it all.
Very interesting. Artificial coffee.
Artificial coffee. It's probably coming.
I would love good coffee. I can't do caffeine anymore. Aaron, I think you've heard
Okay.
the story. I was working at a big company years ago, and somebody was generously passing around a whole tray of coffees from a local coffee place in this meeting. There were about 15 of us, and I picked up one and said how nice, and I drank it. Well, if I tell you, I was on the ceiling for 2 hours.
I
I
don't think I heard
mean,
that story.
the jolts, the jitters, it's like, what happened to me? Well, I didn't smoke anything, but I drank it. And I learned that from 10 cups a day, many years before that, I can't even do decaf. It just, so what
Gets
I
you.
would love is an artificial
Oh.
coffee that tastes really great with
Right.
absolutely zero caffeine in it, even if it had a little AI sensor in it measuring. I don't know what I'm talking
Just the
about.
right amount.
Let's leave it alone. Just the right amount. Zero. Okay, let's move on before I get in more trouble. Martin Pandola, you have sent an interesting quote as well. Let's attribute it. Ed Harris plays Gene Kranz, Kranz. He's the White Team flight director in the movie Apollo 13, the 1995. It's a docudrama directed by the wonderful Ron Howard, starring Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Gary Sinise, Ed Harris, Kathleen Quinlan. Does it get any better than that? It's an adaptation of the 1994 book Lost Moon, The Perilous Voyage of Apollo 13, written by Jim Lovell, the astronaut, and Jeffrey Kluger. And here is the quote Martin has picked. Very interesting. I don't care what anything was designed to do. I care about what it can do, in
Mhm.
caps for the emphasized word, so I know how to read it. Martin, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Tell us, what does this mean to us, please?
I think this is a fascinating part of the movie. I think this is so cool. This is when the rocket ship is in transit towards the moon, right? But they have lost the ability to use their main thruster. So they have to figure out, can they use the thruster on the original landing module for that was going to go down onto the moon? And the flight leader goes to the design team, the team that designed the landing module, and says, can we use this for this purpose? And the design team, of course, says, well, no guarantees. It's not how we designed it, whatever. And there's where the quote comes in. It's not, don't care what it's designed to do. We care what it can do. And so I think there's two parts to this that I was focusing on. The one being the just general creativity, vision, optimism aspect of this, right? You have to be constantly thinking about what we can do, what is possible, and opening up your mind towards the possibility and where you can steer your direction. And then the other part, though, is the adaptability. I think that that's a very fundamental human trait, adaptability, and is useful in many circumstances. And previously, without AI, most of our machines couldn't do that very well. Adaptability. Design was very strict, as Aaron was talking about. Mass produced, right? It requires strict design so that it can be mass produced. And with AI, I think that we have the capability of making our machines adaptable. And so I think that along with that move in embedding AI into our machines, I think that we are going to see less of a focus on strict design and more of a focus on expanding capabilities of the machine, giving it additional tools to work with, right? So maybe less strict coding of the exact capabilities of the machine and more focus on, well, can we add a different sensor type here? Can we add a microphone? Can we add a video camera and hook this up and give this to the machine's AI to say, this is a tool for you to be available to use, and let the machine figure out when it's actually being operated, how to use that.
That's the key. Letting the machine figure out, right? That's the can do, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting. And I think that's going to come into some of our predictions. And I'm ready. Thank you all for the quotes. Very, very interesting. Two of them, one of them was a little scary. Aaron, I'll forgive you later. But yeah, that was wild. I usually stay a little more tame, but maybe it's time for me to get out of the tame box and, send me wild quotes. That'll be just fine. Thank you very much. Okay. Stephén, you got the idea of how the show works now, right? Yeah. Okay.
I do.
He's in the mix. Okay. He's still here. That's good. Okay. Let's go to, and you have a middle initial that you put into your bio. May I ask what it stands for? The G?
Grant.
Grant. Interesting. Okay, thank you very much. That's Stephén Grant Huneycutt. I like that. Okay, very official sounding. All right, let's go to your prediction number one. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to pick a prediction, at least one from each of you. I'll read yours, Stephán's first, and then I'll put you on speaker view, unpack it, take a couple minutes, and then we're going to open it up, and I'm going to ask Martin and I'm going to ask Aaron to wiggle a nice finger at me. You know, I don't reply to the middle one, but like the F-bombs, we don't do that here. But wiggle it. And if you don't raise one of your fingers, I'll still ask you for comments on agree or disagree with what Stephén said, or just add something to it. So let's go. I'm picking your prediction number one. I like this one. Stephén says, your home will know you better than you know it. Oh, if only. AI will become the ultimate home companion, aware of where everything is, what's running low, how your environment changes throughout the day. You'll be able to access that knowledge anytime through an interface. Where are my sunglasses? Of course, you didn't put this in. Where's my damn phone? How am I on eggs? Well, I just bought 18 yesterday. Let's see. Did I leave the window open? Your home will answer, not because it's programmed to. Here's the key Stephén put in, but because it knows. I don't know if this is creepy or great, but I'm skewing toward the great part. So, Stephén, why don't you make us feel better about this? Go ahead.
Yeah. So, for me, when I look at this is just all data points. So it requires a sensor of some sort to be within your home, and then that data point is then being processed by AI, and AI is going to make a decision, based on the input that you provide for it and what you're looking to get from it. So it's, I've always said that it's pretty interesting what you can get from a sensor and what you can infer from any type of sensor. So, the example I always like to give is that, if you want to see if someone's in the room, you can see if the temperature is going up, if the CO2 is going up, if the sound levels are going up, there's all different ways to determine if somebody is in a room. So once you have all these types of sensors, placed throughout the house, including cameras, including humidity and temperature, or just all these types of. I've got about 150 right now running in the house, and you put all that together, you can, with a interface that whatever you're looking for. So if people like to talk, you can say, tell me, when's my daughter getting home? And then it can pull up the where's the bus app and API and say your daughter's going to be home in 15 minutes. You can say, do I need to have something ready for tomorrow? What do I need to wear for tomorrow? Or what is, just anything that comes to mind that relates to you and your space and your environment. It's going to be able to process it based off of the data inputs that's coming in there. So it just opens up to what's important to the user. That's what I've seen. What's important to me is going to be different than for my wife than for my kids, and even my mother at her house. Is what's important to her is a very different input for the AI, but it still will be able to process it and still be able to give an answer back.
Interesting. I'm going to make a quick comment. How will it know how many eggs are left out of my 18 I just bought? And how will it know if I used 3 in the omelet yesterday instead of 2? And what will be in that refrigerator that will tell it? And will I need to put a special sensor on the egg box, or will I need to put in a special tray? It adds a lot of interesting things. Aaron wants to talk. Go ahead.
I want to talk. Yeah,
Go,
no,
talk.
I love that we're using AI, and then I also hear there's a lot of intimacy in what Stephén's talking about, right?
Yes.
And so I love his perspective because he's pretty much the perfect edge case. He's always running everything at the edge. He doesn't want it far away. He wants to own that data, but there's so much more that goes into it. He was calling it, the context of the person. But even then, there are things I want my house to share with my spouse versus my children versus my guests versus my parents as they're coming in. Even my dog, will he have a profile? I don't know. Right. But to me, it's a neat idea that yes, the AI is going to be there and answer questions. But to me, that's still just like asking it to fill out a form for me on, and on the web browser. When it can understand the intimacy of what I actually want about me and how I want to share that, I think that's a whole other compelling layer to this, because now it's smoothing interactions between all of us who have to live together. So I don't know. I'm excited, Stephén. You got my head spinning in a different direction there.
That is a great word,
Yep.
the intimacy quotient, the intimacy profile of what do you want it to know? What do you want it to be in charge of? What do you want to know that it knows about you? What data points are you giving it access to? And my initial question was, how do you give it access to how many eggs are left in the box? How? How does it know? Where does that sensor go? Martin, you want to weigh in on this?
I honestly don't have much to add to this one. I think this was a very good vision.
Okay, we got the check
That
mark.
one's on you to figure out, Martin, how, because you're the how guy, just so you know. So you need to keep thinking.
I just predicted part 3. You're coming back with the how. Okay, Martin's going to be the opening speaker on that one. Let's go. Thank you for Stephén. Anything you want to add?
No, I think that I love the way what Aaron just said is that, what can it do beyond it and smoothing the interactions between the people as well inside the house. So, I know if my mother-in-law comes in, she likes things a little bit warmer, and sometimes I forget to turn up the heat for her. So, if knowing that she comes in and she adjusts it every single time when she goes into to the guest bedroom, AI can say, okay, I can see on the calendar she's coming. Let's go ahead and get things adjusted for her and get things in. So it can start making those types of predictions as well. So that is a whole different layer that I personally haven't quite gotten to yet in my house. So I haven't experienced it yet, but I guess this is the conversation about the future, and it's one step away from where we are. So I do see that happening very soon.
Thank you, Stephén. Okay, let's go to Aaron. I'm going to combine your top 2 prediction 1 and 2 together, and let's see where you go with these. Aaron says, no more user manuals for equipment. Everything will be just a conversation. Interesting. And then he says, AI will give us 1-button appliances. No more wondering, this is laundry. Should I do colors, cold plus warm with a long rinse, ... Okay, Aaron. First of all, should we do laundry first, or should we do this conversation? Go ahead. Is it all the same thing?
Yeah, I think it does kind of lead the same way. One's more kind of work oriented. I don't read the user manual. At least I should read them, but I probably don't read them at home. But I do think we've gotten in button and option ultimate configuration almost purgatory, right? And in some ways we glorify it. Martin made some interesting things about design has been so important for the last 10 years. And I do think there's a chance to just remove that. I don't know how everybody else uses the microwave, but I use 1 button on my microwave. I use the plus 30 seconds. And if I have to hit it 6 times, or if I have to hit it once, that's all I use. I don't know why the other 12 buttons or however many there are there. We got an air fryer and I push and I turn and I don't understand why all this has to exist. You know what I mean? Like to me, AI is the chance to remove this. The washing machine confuses me as well. Just start. And it used to be that way. I remember I grew up, there was 1 button to get this thing going. And I think that's what we're going to do. That intimacy that Stephén alluded to, that context of who it is, maybe a sensor or 2, the camera, the noise, whatever it is, answers all the other configuration questions that we live in. And so to me, I think that's the prediction. Again, I want to be optimistic about this AI and how it's going to make our lives better. And it is better. And we're not losing anything and not knowing how to push the warm cycle, right? We're not forgetting how to think. We're doing laundry and we're on to other stuff. So for me, that's the prediction that I'm really looking at. And as an IoT guy, Stephén, Martin, we're IoT people. We think about these sensor feeds. What are we going to do with that data? It's not just about getting another text message, in a hard rule. It's actually taken away the process for us. So to me, whether it's reading the user manual for me and understanding that configuration, whether it's me maybe interacting with a voice rather than that, other options, but ultimately I want that one button. I want the plus 30 seconds. That's my prediction.
You're going to laugh, but I recently had guests. Well, it was actually a year ago. A friend of mine who's been on this show many times visited me from another part of Tennessee. That's where I am now, and her significant other was here, and I made quiche for brunch. And I'm a very good quiche cook. Anybody wants to come, Stephén and Martin, and you're all invited. Quiche. I'll make 2 or 3 kinds, and you'll love them. And muffins to go, everything good. And I said, if you like to rewarm the quiche, it just come out of the oven, but it was getting cool, and I like my warm, hot, like eggs. And he walked over to my microwave and he pushed the add 30-second button. Aaron, I did not know it would start. I was one of the last people to get a microwave when I was living. I don't know where I was at the time, Eugene, Oregon, or somewhere along Island. I don't know. I was one of the last kids on the block. What's that box? You're going to put that over my stove? What does it do? Is it going to hurt? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't know that you could actually start the microwave by pushing that button, and now I use it all the time.
It's all you need.
I didn't know that. Or I'll push 1 minute and then I'll say add 30, and it's getting down to 14 seconds. I think it doesn't look like it's bubbling. I'm gonna add 30, add 30. So I didn't even know about that till 1 year ago. I'm very embarrassed. Stephén, you want to comment on this? And then Martin, what do you think?
I think this could be an interesting personality profile depending on how you use the microwave right here. So I tend to hit the 2-minute button and I just shut it off when I think it's had enough instead of hitting the 30-second 6 times. So I think there's a personality profile that's associated with that right there.
Appreciate it. Okay, we'll do a personality profile then. The AI user personality profile. Listen, the 4 of us can get together and copyright it, and we could make $1 million. Serious, maybe 1 billion views if we can put examples on. I'll do the TikTok. Martin, you can do the Instagram if you want. Aaron, you can do the YouTube, and Stephén, you can do them all. Okay, we'll take turns with a jumping rope and putting on the AI profile. That'd be great. Okay, Martin, thoughts?
Coming from the development side of things, I spend a lot of time thinking about documentation and how to solve that tough problem of communication in general. We, as we develop features, have a lot of ideas and a lot of knowledge about how to use those features, and it is quite challenging to get that information across to the users, and not only just how to use them, but how to use them optimally. Yes. So I think that what AI is going to help with is tailoring the documentation to the reader itself, right? Like up to now, you write something in a very specific way, and that is tailored to the writer, essentially. And then the job of the reader is to interpret that and get that into their head somehow. But they can't really, they are just working with the thoughts of the writer, and it is very tuned to the writer's point of view. But if AI knows the reader a little bit better and can change the wording, change how things are phrased, change how things are laid out, how verbose things are, to the reader's comfort level, how they best learn, I think that would be very beneficial. And this also opens up the capabilities of translation, I think. If you are working on your washing machine and you need to figure it out, but then you're in a different country. It's the same software regardless, right? You don't have to do any translation. You don't have to have that internationalization built in. You have the AI that can, if you only speak ancient Greek, it will tell you how to use your washing machine in ancient Greek, for instance, right? I think that would open up a lot of possibilities.
I'll even add to it. If you can figure out whether I've got a 220 voltage or a 120, I mean, there's all the plug. I mean, you think about that stuff that it's not just standard measurements or language. It's all just how is the wiring done in this country kind of thing. That's pretty cool.
Well, think about the personality profile, Stephén, when you said that, the personality profile with reading a manual. What pages do I need to use? Will it tell me only go to page 57 and then back to page 22? Martin, brilliant. Absolutely. Stephén, go.
one thing that was actually really good. So one of the things that just came to mind when you said that is that I read a book that was talking about reducing the errors in pilots and airplane crashes. And one of the things is that in the US, it said that the onus of communication is on the person who's actually who's receiving the information, the
Mhm.
listener, for them to understand and see what's going on. But in Asian cultures, in that side of the world, the onus is on the communicator to make sure that the listener is understanding properly what the communication is being said. So that's the very first thing that came to mind when Martin was speaking is that AI can now say you can put the onus on the AI and say, let AI be the one that's actually translating this and making sure that whoever's listening and hearing this right here is being able to understand it properly. So I think that will work. That will help out a lot here on the Western culture side of things.
I'm just
Just
imagining now I'm going to have my AI asking questions if I understand what it told me. Great.
There you go. And it's going
Someone
to
else
say,
nagging me.
Aaron, you pushed the wrong button. I worked in marketing at Nokia years ago, not on the phone side, but they had bought the IntelliSync suite, if anybody remembers that. And I guess I was good at writing and doing all of those interesting things. And somebody came over to me and said, I know this isn't on your to-do list, and I know this isn't something you were hired to do, but would you please look over our user manuals we're writing and would you kind of make them more human? I kid you not. And they sent me the manual and I took it and I said to myself, well, there's at least a half a dozen on the first 2 pages that need a diagram, that need an image, that need something so people know what in the hell they're looking at, they're supposed to be looking at and doing. And I went and humanized the manual for them. This was many, 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 well, not that many years ago, not as long back as Kobe and Kobo, all that. But my point was that even then we knew it was a beast having a user manual. Who wants to read that? Damn, it comes in 14 languages, right, Martin? And it has 22 pages and they're in 3.5 point type. Or you get the online kind, the download, and it's 50 pages. And you say, what do I do with this PDF? I'll stick it in a folder. User manuals. Will I ever look at it? Hell no. So I think we're onto something here. I think we ought to patent this conversation or trademark. I'm very excited. Okay, Martin, I'm going to go to some of your predictions here. And Martin is moving this into more of machinery, and I like this, a different out of the home and into the workplace or into the factory, shall we say. So, Martin, I'm going to read two of yours, and I like this a lot. Machines will use AI for predictive maintenance. We already know this. Now, here. They will monitor machine performance through sensing temperature, sound, electricity usage, and optimize when maintenance will need to occur. This will not only warn you of early failures, but give you peace of mind if a machine is operating well beyond its expected maintenance date. I like that. Now, let me go to the prediction 3 I'm going to add. This is where I want you to go. AI in wearables will enable tracking changes in worker posture, worker breathing rate to detect fatigue or strain before injury. So you've taken this from the machine in the factory to the people who are operating it, running it, maintaining it, using it. I like that, Martin. You really covered all the bases here. So, Martin, I'll put you back on speaker view. Lucky you. And why don't you tell us a little more? I'd like to know.
Well, on the machine side of things, right? The predictive maintenance is always so interesting to me. One, giving it additional tools to use the AI. So, like we said in the intro here, if we can add a microphone, if we can add a temperature sensor, those are interesting operational variables that are not typically easy to use to judge if maintenance is required. But the sound, for instance, of the machine operating could tell you a lot about how it's operating. And I think humans key into that a bit. When your machine is whirring a little too high pitched, you saying something needs to be tuned there, right? And if the machine can tell you even before you detect it, hey, something's going a little wrong there, I think that would be quite interesting. The other side of this, like I said, was the if things are going well, right? In my car, for instance, whenever I get to one of those mile markers, 40,000 miles or whatever on my card, my user manual says that, well, you should probably replace the belts in your engine for some reason at this point. I get a little nervous, right? I think that, well, maybe I need to, because otherwise it's going to break down. But if I knew, hey, no, actually things are looking fine. Your belt's probably good for another 10,000 miles. That gives me a lot of peace of mind and allows me to really go and not worry about that, not take that to to take that maintenance step too early. Saves me a little time, saves me a little money. I like both of those. And then back to the people aspect of things. Same kind of thing. I mean, this is almost people maintenance, right? How do you detect the operational efficiency of your people, and not just for efficiency's sake, but for their safety? If their heart rate's going up, skyrocketing throughout the day, maybe they're doing something that's causing a little bit too much strain. Maybe they're lifting wrong. Maybe they're in a dangerous situation in a particular portion of the factory that you're not aware of. And so I think that these kind of insights would help you, optimize your workspace as well as keep your workers safe, which I think is incredibly important.
Very incredibly important. Any comments from Stephén or Aaron? Aaron's raised his hand first. You'll have to wait, Stephén. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I find it interesting well, a couple things, but I'll jump to the supporting of the maintenance of the person. Certainly we have this vision, going on right now of dark factories, right? We want to be able to have robots and machines producing 24 hours a day. But there's still humans that have to go in there and make these things work. Maybe they're flashlights. I don't know how they're going to get around these dark factories, but safely moving around. So we're still going to have those people. And I think it is important to think about how we provide maybe not AI to them, but expert guidance. I know, especially in the medical space, they're very slow to say they're doing artificial intelligence to diagnose you. But they are certainly using a lot of AI algorithms to provide expert intelligence or expert advice to go beside the doctor, beside the diagnostician. And I feel like maybe in some ways we haven't done that yet for our everyday worker. There's no one here making sure, I'm in the right workspace, the right chair level, all that kind of stuff. And on some hand, I think that's where we're going. We've seen a little bit of that with Apple Watch, reminding us to get up and walk around when we sit for 5 days straight. But I think that's going to happen. It's going to be much more in tune to the flow of what we're doing in our very specific jobs. That context, that intimacy in the home now becomes that intimacy or that personalization, that context in the workflow in our business lives.
I like that. And then we get into privacy and intrusion, and that intimacy that's a whole other conversation. And we can do that in part 3, which I'm already booking you for. Stephén, what would you like to add?
I'm going to say that a lot of my conversations are based around values. So when I talk about any of this type of technology, is what's the value to the actual person or to the company? And in today's world and climate, what I've seen is that the cost of everything is just getting a lot more expensive. So being able to extract the most value out of any device, out of yourself is becoming more and more valuable. So knowing that you should stand up, knowing that you should have better posture is going to save you in the long run, just from a cost perspective, just from going to the doctor or having to lean on things of that nature. So I think that is going to be a strong use case for AI. I personally see it from the example that I have is from my mother, who lives by herself. And she's a very fiercely independent woman, and she wants to be able to do things on herself, but she's getting to the age where it's getting harder and harder for her to do things. And I think AI would be a great solution where she can come in and just say, hey, you do need to do this for a little bit here today. Take a couple steps, go around and do things of that nature. And that will extend the quality of her life. And then also just make sure, again, that's the value that I see in this. So I'm not pushing, I'm always on the business development side in the company. So I always focus on the value. So that's, I do lean on Martin and Aaron to talk about the technical side of things, but that is where really the true value is. It's the time and money. And that relates to business as it does to our own personal health.
Have you told Mom?
I think that generation is going to be a little bit more resistant, and
Okay,
I think the next generation.
How old is your mom?
She is turning 79 this month.
Okay. She's not of that generation yet. I'm sorry. She still probably knows what you're going to be talking about. If you told me she was 93, that I got my mom a Mac when she was about 90, and she hated it, so we got her a PC. And then she said, I hate the Mac less, so we gave her back the Mac. She was one of the few people in her generation to actually use a cell phone, a flip phone. We had to remind her to plug it in. Most of her friends gave the cell phones back to their kids and said, what do I need this for? I'll pick up the damn landline, I'll call you. And that was about it. My mother was listening listening to one of my radio shows that was airing from a real radio station. She was listening to it on the internet on her computer and then calling me on the phone to give me a review of how much she liked or didn't like my guests. She was emailing. She was researching at 95. She was researching on the computer because she was giving talks for some of the groups. She lived in a high-rise luxury building and she was part of a group. So Mom was, at 100 when she passed away. She was very much into technology, which was shocking. So don't tell me at 79 your mom's of that time. I'm sorry. I like you a lot, but I couldn't deal with that. Are you mad at me, Stephén?
No, not at all. Not at all. Different opinions.
Give your mom credit or tell her to call me. I'll tell her. Okay. I want to squeak in. We have 6 minutes left. I want to squeak in one more prediction from Aaron. I like this one a lot, and it's a little scary, but I think we'll all have a good time with it. Aaron says, the power utility will know you better than your family or your therapist. I just dropped my therapist 3 weeks ago, but I'm okay. You stayed up late watching TV. Yep. You ate a 30-second reheated meal. Well, it was quiche, but it was still, you haven't gone outside in 2 days. I did yesterday. You just did laundry Sunday. You showered for 45 minutes, but didn't do your hair. None of your business. And you haven't done laundry in 2 weeks. Your electricity meter knows you well. Aaron, intimacy, privacy, what are we talking about here? How would it know all this stuff? I didn't admit to anything. I really didn't. I was just making funny comments. Stephén?
Yeah. I mean, I think, Martin talked about it, right? We haven't ever thought of these little things that actually know a ton of data about us. And we haven't turned that data loose yet. We've turned every blog out there. We've turned every YouTube and TikTok out there for AI to understand and to be able to generate large language models around. But we haven't really turned data that does know and recognizes a power signature. Oh, that's the hair dryer going through, and I see that pool. That's the such and such going through. This one sensor that sits in our home is going to know when I'm watering my lawn. It's going to know when the door's open because the security alarm, all these little things. And then it's just one feed. And I think, I don't know how we're going to use it. And I don't know that the utility company wants ownership for it. It may even be like railroads used to own all the cell phone towers because they owned all the lines, all the tracks to get everywhere. They're going to back into this extremely interesting business model because they know this stuff, probably generated out at the meter outside. And then they're just going to sit there and say, we know you did this. We know you did this. We know it was this specific person in your home. And that's a real opportunity. How we protect that, how we privatize that, how we get value ourselves out of it. Stephén talks about what he's done with his different sensors. That's what's going to come out of this. But, you don't have to tell your power meter that you did or didn't do these things. It's going to know, right? You don't have to be honest to it sitting in front of your therapist or your mom. It's coming. It's coming. And that diagnosis of us as humans is going to be figured out pretty quickly.
You know what I would like it to tell me? When I text somebody and the context of the text is something important, like to the irrigation guy, the sprayers in the backyard are hitting the house and they're going into the crawl space. Please come and adjust the trajectory because I thought we did this when you was. And it's been today 9 days since I texted him. I'd like AI to do two things: to tell me you texted this person. It has been 9 days since you did. There is no reply. And here are 3 possible ways to politely or angrily respond to them. Here's their email address. You have their phone number on the text. And this is how I suggest you get them to take action without losing them as a vendor or having them double your fee. Anybody want to comment on that? Martin or Stephén or Aaron? Wouldn't that be nice if AI could take care of that for me?
Yeah, if it could totally take away that mental load of how to say this nicely but meanly at the same time, that would be amazing.
Would that be something? Because my Sylvie, my collaborator on ChatGPT, my Sylvie will tell me. I had her tell me people who don't want to do the jot form and they don't want to submit certain types of deliverables to me, how to tell them this is a requirement and thank you so much. I guess you're not going to be on the show, but how to do it in a nice way instead of me sitting here with my heart. Oh my God, what am I going to say? And they're going to be mad at me. Going to tell somebody I'm a bitch. And I didn't say that anyway. So she wrote a couple of sample emails for me that were nice. I've customized a little bit. Stephén or Martin, you want to say anything about that? We're going to close.
No, I mean, this to me, this feels a lot about just communication, and again, the human in this equation is the one that's always the biggest variable that everyone tries to figure out. And I think AI, with all the information that's getting fed into it, is getting better and better at figuring out and how to communicate with that the biggest variable in that equation. So it's hope that I believe that there's a lot of good and valuable ways of using it in a positive way. I do know that it's a tool and it can be used in both ways. So, we push for the good, and we'll see the value coming from that.
We certainly do. Thank you very much. Martin, any comment you want to make on that?
Nope, I think that was a wonderful way to end it.
Thank you very much. Would you all like to come back for part 3? Stephén, would you like to come back?
Sure, happy to.
Sure, happy to. I'll take that. Aaron always says yes.
Yeah,
Martin, are you in
go.
for another one? We might have to get Eric or Simone back, who's traveling today. But I'm going to thank him for being on a flight, because Stephén, it's really nice to meet you. And now we got to get Danielle on the show. Would Danielle ever come?
Oh, absolutely.
She's watching everything, and she's out there reacting to YouTube right
Doing
now.
a great job.
She does. She's really,
Yes.
really good. So, and I want to thank Jordan Henson, who is our engineer at the Voice America Media Business Channel, getting us on their YouTube. And I want you all to wave hello. We've actually got somebody watching us on YouTube. It's a miracle. Wave hello or wave goodbye. I'm going to play the closing music, and let's go out with a bang here. Well, not exactly. So let's see if we can get.
Are you tired of
Stephén,
hearing the
listen to this.
future is
Stephén,
already
you're
here?
gonna like this.
We are too. That may have been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet. Take a deep breath, tune out the hype, the noise, and turn up the volume. Savvy, art of the possible technology visionaries talking about how today's innovations right now
Wait
are
for it.
shaping every aspect
for
of our real
Listen
future.
up.
We'll laser focus our spotlight on buzzworthy tech like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, augmented reality, and lots more. Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now. With the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
And I want to tell you that was recorded about 6 years ago. Can you believe I wrote that and Ryan recorded it for me, and we were just damn visionaries at the time.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's wave goodbye to social.